Hello, it's Rapid Regeneration. I'm David Escamilla. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not making any claims about diseases or medical claims. I am a regenerative detoxification specialist, and I'm somebody who has committed to understanding how to heal the body naturally and how to solve health problems naturally. I got into this for very selfish reasons because I was feeling horrible and miserable, and I lost my whole livelihood because I got so sick, and I tried all the ways to fix it and they didn't work, the conventional ways, and then I figured out the natural methods worked and which ones and how to do it. And once I solved my problems, I made a deal with God to help you. I said, God, if you ever get me out of this thing, I'll help other people. I'll be a good person and help other people. And so that's why I'm helping you. So this is an area that is huge. I mean, and if somebody misses this area, then it can be devastating. And it can seriously hold someone back. Someone could be doing all the perfect things, all the natural healing methods, and eating right, and supplements, and everything. And if they're missing this one, they could still be constantly causing damage to their body and not allowing the body to actually get into a state of healing. And this, of course, is about EMFs, electronic radiation. The EMFs stand for electromagnetic frequencies, and this is about electronic pollution, all the things in the modern world. Now, there's a lot of science behind this. It's well documented, and you can see it for yourself. For example, a cell phone, radiation from a cell phone, holding a cell phone up to your ear while you're talking on it. It's been documented that this literally raises the temperature of the brain due to the microwave radiation. So it doesn't take a genius to figure out that blasting somebody with radiation, can have a big effect. And the other thing is that we're conductors of electricity as well. We are electromagnetic beings, and so we're like a walkie-talkie, or we're conductive. And the other thing is we can pick up on wavelengths, informational wavelengths, and throughout the universe. I mean, we're connected via vibrations and frequencies to the environment, and it's a give and take. And so, yes, I mean, we're going to be affected by all this electronic smog, in essence, that's being created. And some people are more sensitive to it than others. And that's a big thing. And if you're not sensitive to it at all, or, it's not a problem, then maybe you don't need this. But the other thing is that somebody can become more and more aware and sensitive to this. Just because you're not observing a problem, it doesn't mean that your body is not being harmed, or that there's not oxidative stress happening. It could be, but you may just not be aware of it. And so, sort of like a person that has like sort of a crooked way of standing or something, and they're kind of all hunched over or something. To them, this is just how they normally are. They're like, and they don't necessarily feel like this is causing an issue, but it is. I mean, you have high power transmission lines that are above the ground. You have satellite internet that are beaming down this frequencies at the earth. You have satellite television. You have cell phone towers that are broadcasting out. You have Wi-Fi routers in the houses. You have other smart devices that are emitting their own frequencies. You have the Internet of Things. You have the smart meters on all these houses. They're sending back to wireless cell networks. How about all the modern cars? They all have satellite transmissions going out. They have their own wireless transmission, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all the cell phones that are everywhere. All of this, I mean, it's creating this soup. And if you ever get out of the city and you go to a more natural setting, why is it that you feel so much more peaceful? And this is the reason why. And so what I'm going to talk about is because I mean I hate the fact that I've become an expert in this area. I wish I could be an expert on something else, like something fun like painting or business or something that's more fun. But instead, I've become, over almost 10 years, an expert on how to mitigate, defend against, prevent, mitigate basically this electronic pollution. So there's a number of techniques I'm going to talk about. They're effective, they work, it allows you to still live in this modern world, and that's what this segment is about. Because that's the feeling that's really the healing harmony, the healing vibration of nature. That's what we want to get into. That's what we want to give to our body so that the body can heal itself, regenerate itself. And that's what you experience when you go out into nature. And a few years before I made this program, I moved out of town. I was living in Austin in the middle of the city, and I moved out to the periphery into a more natural setting. And there's trees and bunny rabbits and grass and nature. And it's a huge difference. There's such a peaceful vibration here. And when you go back into the city, you can literally feel the energy change. You get more crowded and more tense. And you can feel it happening as you go into the city. And you know what? I don't know if I'm going to live like this forever. I might go back to the city. I mean, the healthier you get, I think the more aware you become of these kind of frequencies. But at the same time, the stronger you get, the less of a big deal that it becomes. If you're really struggling health-wise and you start getting healthy, yeah, it could be very overwhelming. But once you get yourself healthy and well and energetic, then it doesn't faze you as much. So meters. And I can't recall if they were smart meters or what, but I mean, and I actually was going crazy at this time. Like the way I was acting, the way I was feeling, it was crazy, and I couldn't figure out why. So looking back, I have to wonder. I have no way to tell for sure if that was a contributing factor, but I feel like it probably was intuitively. So, and again, I have friends that they're so committed to their health. They're super healthy. They eat healthy, all these things, but they lack awareness about how to control this radiation. And this could be someone who they're very careful about what they put on their skin, what they eat, who they'll have relationships with, and everything. But they don't seem to care at all about radiation just constantly interfacing with them. So I believe this is going to be one of the number one issues to create health problems, for sure. It's already doing that. It's going to get worse in this world. And if you can figure out how to mitigate it, to allow for self-healing. So this is going to be one of the issues of the day. And so I'm going to help people figure out how to not be harmed by this. Okay, first of all, you could consider getting rid of the Wi-Fi in your house. Now, how difficult is it really to go from Wi-Fi to plugged in internet? Really not that difficult. You just have to figure out, I mean, the downside is probably aesthetics. Basically, you're going to run an Ethernet cable from your router to where your computer is, or where you have your computer. Maybe you have a loose cable so you can bring your computer around different like chairs and stuff like that. And then you plug it into your computer. You can also plug it into a tablet, and you get internet that way. It's a clean, fast, secure form of internet, but it's clean. It's not putting out that radiation when you go through that cable. Now you got to consider the aesthetics. Well, how am I going to get a cable? I'm running it through my house from the router. And then what about the TV? Normally I'm connecting the TV through Wi-Fi. Now I got to get a cable from basically either the router to the TV, or I got to get a cable from the laptop to the TV. So these are the questions. That's the only challenge of it. If you're willing to figure that out, I use thumbtacks, big thumbtacks with like a cable, and run the cable in the corners of the wall, and run it like that. So it ends up looking pretty clean. You don't hardly notice it, but that's why you won't do it, is because you're like, oh, it's going to be a pain to run the cable. But I mean, this is a huge, huge difference. If you can stop wireless radiation from constantly blasting through your home, it is a huge, huge difference. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family, for your kids. Most people can tell the difference. If you're sitting in a room and you have the router on and you turn it off, most people can palpate a difference, that how they feel. Some people say they can think more clearly. They're more at ease without this interference. And you'll need to get a router that doesn't emit Wi-Fi. So make sure when your internet provider, you just get a modem from them, not a Wi-Fi router, and then use your own router that doesn't use Wi-Fi. You can find one that does that at rapregeneration.com/router. Okay, next, let's address the phone, the cell phone. Okay, there's all these different frequencies, and this phone is very close to your body most of the time. So I've categorized the frequencies, at least as of the time of recording, into 5 categories. And what's crazy is you can basically get rid of 4 of them. So the first category is actual phone signals. This is like the older frequencies that were used in the 90s, mid 2000s, and they carry phone calls and texts. Okay, next is cellular data, which is the more enriched frequencies of data, cell data. Okay, next is location services, aka GPS, that work via satellite and cell towers. And next is Wi-Fi. And then lastly is Bluetooth. And so basically, the latter four of these frequencies are the more dense, the more potentially harmful frequencies. Anyways, and these can be disabled on the phone. At least as of now, I know at the time of recording, you can disable it on the Apple iPhone and also an Android device. And this is relatively easy to do. You go into your phone settings, you turn off the location services, you turn off the Wi-Fi, you turn off the Bluetooth, you turn off the cellular data. And once you've done this, you basically have a phone it's no more radioactive, or giving off radiation than a phone was in the 1990s or early 2000s, before all these heavy data streams started. So now here's the catch about doing this, is that now what are you going to do if you need to use the data? So now, let's say you need to use the GPS. You're going to have to go back in your phone. You're going to have to turn on the cell data, turn on the location services, put in your address, navigate to your destination, and then go in and turn them back off. So this is an extra hassle. You're having to go in, turn it on when you use it, and then turn it back off when you're done. Inconvenient. Okay, but you know what's really inconvenient is getting blasted with microwave radiation constantly. So you have to figure out which one of those do you prefer. Now personally, I switch back and forth, and if you do the math, I might only have 1 hour of the day that I'm getting blasted. The other 23 hours of the day, I'm not getting blasted with radiation, and that's worth it to me. But then again, I'm not looking at my phone every 10 seconds. I'm not checking social media on my phone every 10 seconds or swiping through different things. And so a lot of the younger folks that are listening to this, actually it's not just the younger folks, it's a lot of people. They've become addicted to their phones. This is really a separate issue of that issue of how often people are stimulating themselves with their phones. So if you're constantly doing that, then maybe this isn't a good solution for you, because you're constantly checking your phone. So it would be better suited for someone who's just checking their phone, using their data to check their different apps, sporadically, less frequently throughout the day. You can also check that stuff on a computer. Again, that's on an Ethernet. That's clean transmission. So that's how I handle the phone. Also, when you go to bed at night, consider shutting off the phone completely, putting it in airplane mode. That eliminates all frequencies. Now, some people are concerned, if I do that, what if someone needs to call me in an emergency? That's fine, I understand that. Personally, I have a landline. A landline runs $10 to $20 a month, so it may not be cost effective for everybody, but when I go to sleep, I forward my cell phone calls to my landline number, and then I shut off my cell phone. So that way, Mom, if you need to call me, the Wi-Fi, but some of them you can't. You have refrigerators, you have air conditioning units, you have dishwashers, washer dryers, ovens. You have all these things that are smart. A lot of them you can't even turn it off. So it's constantly giving out this Wi-Fi, looking out for signals to connect to. With TVs, smart TVs. So the best solution may just be to get an older appliance or to get one that's not smart. The other thing about these smart TVs and smart appliances is they may have a microphone and or a camera and a disclosure agreement that comes with the product saying basically it's allowed to collect information about you via these tracking devices, so that some AI algorithm can figure out your behavior and your lifestyle patterns and figure out how to sell that to companies so they can advertise to you, so they can cater their ads to you so you buy more stuff from them. So that's whole another level of creepy extra consciousness that's entering the artificial consciousness that's entering the equation. So avoid these things, these smart appliances, smart TVs. And I know that sounds extreme, but you have to understand what you're getting. Buyer beware. You have to at least know so you can make the decision, do I really want to do this? And maybe you're okay with it, but at least know what's going on. Another area is these smart electrical meters. Now, I don't have to tell you about it. You can see for yourself all of the complaints that have been going on about these electronic meters. You know, these complaints have forced many utility companies to offer opt-out programs where basically they'll install a regular analog meter, because these smart meters, they transmit dense, low frequency electronic radiation to cell towers on a constant basis. And a lot of times the utility will charge an extra fee to opt out, and they'll have to send someone out to read the analog meter, you know, which is a real bummer, but I'm willing to pay this fee in order to not just blast myself with this radiation. Okay, another important area is lights. Now this is very overlooked. Most people have no idea about this, but a lot of these common light bulbs that came into fashion in the late 2000s that are more efficient, they're actually very high emitters of frequencies that are disharmonious frequencies. They can throw off the natural flow of the human body, endocrine gland system, even hormone production. And these are lights such as fluorescent lights, LED lights, and halogen lights. And then you have lights that are old-fashioned technology, which are putting out clean light, clean frequencies that are harmonious, and that's your incandescent, your old-fashioned light bulb. And basically those light bulbs, a lot of stores don't even carry them anymore. You have to buy them online, but you can buy them online at a very low cost. They are actually less efficient, regular light bulbs, so it costs a little bit more money, but paying a few more cents a day it is worth it to me. I once had I took a film class, and the instructor said, don't ever light your actors with fluorescent or LED lights, because it's going to drain them emotionally. I mean, you know, but then you look at these warehouses and these corporate offices, and you go in there, and it's like there's no soul to the place. It's just devoid of any energy and soul. And on the other hand, you walk into a high-end restaurant, and there's this beautiful ambiance and mood, and they're using incandescent lights, whereas the corporate offices are using LEDs or fluorescent. So I'm not making this stuff up. It's real. It's documented. and it's a big difference. And I use all incandescent lights, and it gives off a warm, comforting light as opposed to the more cold, harsh light that comes with these frequencies. So difference is night and day. You can find those light bulbs at rapidregeneration.com/light bulb. Okay. You can also consider using crystals to help, surround yourself with some positive energy, some positive frequencies, perhaps even buffer. The one that I like the most for energy buffering is shungite, Elite Noble Shungite. I've got a piece right here, but basically it's a very special crystal, and it's thought to be able to help transmutate energy. But you can put these crystals in strategic areas. You can put them around devices. You can keep them in your car. Keep them close to where you sleep, where you work. Or you can get a necklace like this, shungite necklace, and carry it so that it's always contacting your skin. I like it personally. I like crystals anyways, but particularly I like shungite to help with transmuting negative energies. So if you're interested in that, check out rapidregeneration.com/shungite or /shungite necklace. The other thing you can do is you can get grounding mats, grounding sheets, grounding pillowcases. There's another segment where I talk about grounding and earthing and some of this technology where it plugs into the grounding rod of your electrical outlet, which plugs into the grounding rod that's stuck in the earth. So it gets the frequency of the earth, gets that electron flow, and it helps to re-alkalize the body, to balance it. So keeping yourself in contact with those kind of mats at your desk or on your bed with your sheets, that can really help. And you can find some of that more information at rapidregeneration.com/grounding. Okay, on the high end of the spectrum in terms of cost, you could also consider a PEMF mat, pulse electromagnetic frequency therapy device, or mat. This can help to rebalance the cells, alkalize the body, helping to mitigate against oxidative stress from harmful EMFs. Just keep in mind this is costly. This runs several $1,000s. So the poor man's version of this, or poor woman's version, is the grounding mats or earthing mats, or going outside, touching your bare feet to the earth. But you can find that mat at rapidregeneration.com/PEMF. Okay, getting close to the end here. This is a long subject, but it's an epic issue. It's one of the big issues of our not just our generation, but of our whole species. What are we going to do? So, lastly, you want to, of course, make sure that your body is functioning, that it's healthy. You want to do these different cleanses. You want to do also heavy metal cleansing and harmful chemical cleansing and heavy metal cleansing, which is covered in its own segment. It is thought that if you have heavy metals in the body, these can be exacerbating to EMFs. Maybe there's receptors to EMFs. So you want to get that stuff out of the body for sure. Also, it seems like iodine, making sure that you have healthy levels of iodine in the body, helps as well. It's a protective buffer against X-ray radiation and ionizing radiation, nuclear radiation. But in terms of EMFs, it just seems to help because there's a correlation between improved cognition and thinking, and a lot of times that gets affected by EMFs. So make sure to check out the segment about iodine. The other thing is, if you're in a house that seems tense and and something weird going on, and you feel bad energy in there, bad juju, bad frequencies. The other thing you could do is you could move. Go to a location that's less susceptible to this. Now I know that's a tough pill to swallow. I consider myself a bit of a location freak, and can really pick up on energies. And there's actually individuals who are experts in this, and they can identify if even things like temporal zones, which I'm not sure exactly how it works, but there's sort of energetic vortexes that can exist and can be unstable for an individual to reside in. Now there's tools you can use. Let's say if you're home shopping, if you're saying, okay, I'm going to get another home that's in a more harmonious, peaceful location. I want to know if there's dirty energy inside the home. You can use your own sixth sense, to go in there and feel it out. And some people's sixth sense is more attuned than others. Some people's it gets dulled out. You have to develop it. But there's also tools and devices you can buy, and you can learn from other individuals who are even more learned in how to use those tools. You can find that at rapregeneration.com/EMF detector. Personally, I'd like to learn more about that, but I use my own sixth sense more than anything. But I would like to learn more how to use those tools. And sometimes it's not practical to relocate, and we have to stay in place, in which case you wanna just make your home more less frequencies. Take out the Wi-Fi, take out the smart meter, use some crystals, use some grounding devices, and things like that. But sometimes it's time to get out of Dodge. I mean, look at all these cell towers that are going up everywhere. When I was living in the middle of Austin, there was a cell tower that was put up while I was living there, and it was about 3 blocks away, which isn't horrible, but after it was put up, I noticed a vibe in my house. It felt different, and I even sustained a mild injury when I was working out at my house. And I thought, why did this injury even happen? And could my cells have been experiencing, a lack of ease and a blockage? And my intuition said, you know what, there's harmful radiation coming from this tower that's right nearby. And I literally felt the difference. And so I did take it as kind of a sign to relocate. And if you are going to relocate, by the way, there's a helpful tool. You can find rapregeneration.com/cell tower search. It will show you all of the cell towers, as well as antennas, which don't have as much harmful radiation, but all the cell towers in the area. And I understand we have to live in this world. We can't live in a vacuum, but you wouldn't want to buy a house that's literally right next to a cell tower. I mean, there's great value in not having cell towers right nearby. So trust your sixth sense, which is that sense of directionality, that sense of frequencies, and figure out maybe it's time to move. You might even move cities or states or maybe even countries. So, man, that is it. I know that's a lot. So it's been years and years of distilling this information. I've figured out personally how to live and in a sort of a balance and a sort of a compromise. I like my environment. It's peaceful, it's harmonious, and it's inspiring. It allows me to be creative, and it allows me to be in a good mood and energetic. And I go to some other environments and it's just antithetical to that. And I think, man, if I lived in this apartment building with all this vibes going on here, it would just be so much harder just to get through every day. So it's really an uphill battle. And that's what kills me, is I see people and they're just struggling for no reason. I mean, they're putting themselves through the ringer when really they don't have to. If they could just put some of these things in place to stop harming their bodies literally constantly, the results could be that much more explosive. So I hope this was helpful, and keep learning, keep understanding these segments. They're all critical. Some of them not as much as others. This one is super critical. So if you made it to the end, amazing. If you need to reference some of these strategies, then you can always find this. I have this written out and documented on the website, rapidregeneration.com. This whole project is dedicated to you. It is a service to you and a resource for you. It's what I wish I had when I was going through what you're going through, which is trying to solve your health problem, trying to go to the next level and become the next better version of yourself. So if I can help you do that, that's amazing to me. And keep going. I'll see you on the next segment. Bye for now.
For more information, please follow @Rapid Regeneration or visit rapidregeneration.com.